Greetings everyone, I'm Jeffrey Grutner, and today on this video I want to talk to you about the dynamics of the unconscious and how it interfaces with our manifest world in the world of form, and why that's important right now in terms of what's going on astrologically that gives us the clues or the signs that there's going to be a really strong interface between that energy, the planet most associated with the unconscious is Neptune, and there's many other things that we associate with Neptune, but it's Neptune, the realm of all possibilities, in which imagination and dreams exist, and from that place that is, but it is a formless place. It's not part of the reality, but it's a place that we draw on and we send energy to. And that's coming together with Venus and the Moon and the North Node. Now, that's astrologies, but that's a very tight convergence, and it represents the opportunity to bring what we value, the space that we hold, Venus, for the things that we love and want to flourish in the world and support life and connection, and its connection to the unconscious, or that imagined realm where we visualize things that we want to bring into reality, and that it's happening so in such a very tight convergence. Now it's happening right now, just to be fair. So, but it happens in a very tight convergence on February 1st, 2025, and precisely right around 4 o'clock Central Time, although it's all day. And so what I thought I would do is just give a kind of a very specific description of some insights to have about how those things work together, and that you may choose then to engage with that more consciously. And we've designed a whole ceremony for that I will be leading, and Frank DeCristina with his sound bath will be a part of that. But even if you don't join us for that, you may want to really engage with this, because it seems that what the universe is telling us is that it's a really important time to create the seed form of out of what we imagine we want in the world, so that we can grow it and bring it into the reality that we all live. So let's talk about how one of the ways that the unconscious, or this realm, works. And I've already given a couple of keywords with Neptune. It's the realm of dreams and of imagination. You can experience this in other states of altered consciousness, different states of consciousness, and you reach that, and it's the realm of all possibilities. And one of the metaphors is that, it's something in the fog, and you look out into the fog and you may not be able to see anything specific, but you may see things moving in form and then disappearing, and a breeze comes by and it's gone. And that's kind of the way that those kinds of energies work. And if we're just observing it, then it unfolds the way it does. However, there is a very distinct connection between our own unconscious and our part of that collective unconscious that is at work here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to draw something. Some of these principles, I'm sure a lot of you people, a lot of the folks watching this are going to know, and they probably use them. So hopefully what I'm doing is just giving a few more specific insights, help you to grasp why it's important to focus on it more right now. So what I'm going to do, because I've got a little patch of snow that hasn't been trampled on and so on, and I'm going to draw something, because what this is demonstrating is a very simple principle of what I'm forming in my mind, or rather what's in my imagination, and the feeling around it. And what I'm going to do is try to create that in the form world, right? So in my mind, it is perfect. It's ideal. It's a lemniscate based on the golden mean ratio, right? An infinity symbol. So I just drew it in the air, but let me just draw it in the snow, because this is where we can create it in the form world. So it's in my mind, and it's a perfect golden mean spiral, fragments of or fractals of in my mind, and then I try to draw it in there. And obviously it's incredibly imperfect. It's got a lump over here, and it's got all this other stuff over here. But in my mind, my intention was to make that design, right? And part of this is because, well, I don't know if I need to go into all that, but if you understand the golden mean, it describes pathways in the interfaces between frequencies that has this carrier wave of love. And it is a significant basis of how the universe works and how we bring things into manifestation, and how we end up experiencing it or feeling it in our bodies as love. So anyway, but the point is that I'm creating this, and for it to get to the form world, there has to be a very precise pathway. In my imagination, if I'm holding that idea, if I'm holding that picture in my mind with the intention, that's good. And a lot of people say, oh, all you have to do is hold the intention. It's only halfway there. There's a lot of other pieces to that, getting it to the form. It has to form into a concept, and then you have to bring into your mind ideas of getting the pathway. I have to pick up my wand, my stick, and I have to draw it in there. And then, as always, there's imperfection, because the form world is imperfect. These amazing trees standing around me, in their DNA is perhaps some perfect form. But when they grow, some of the branches get broken off in the wind, and then others grow bigger, and so on. And so, there's the beauty is in the imperfection, and the connection between what was perfectly formed and what manifests don't always match. So you keep working that process. But the reason I wanted to draw this lemniscate, this infinity symbol, is because it also represents what I'm forming in my imagination, and then what I am projecting into the realm of the unconscious, or the collective unconscious. I'm taking some energy or my imagination, and I am putting that I'm projecting it out into that realm of all possibilities. And like the fog that will take on the form that I imagine, that formlessness, that realm of all possibilities, starts to take on the form that I've projected onto it, right? And as we know, we have to add feeling, we have to add the thought and the pathways, etc., in order for that idea to become manifest. And so with Neptune, some of the other key words are illusion, delusion, and uh, because it's a realm of any possibilities, and because it's not connected to the form reality. There's this multiple pathway to get to form reality. And so we could say that something that you've created in your mind and you've projected out onto it is an illusion or even delusional. So you might imagine a world where nature is intact and vital and supporting all life. And you can keep feeding that vision into the collective unconscious. And as long as you're taking some of your life force energy and applying it in that way, in some of the other elements, you're adding your feeling and you're adding action, because passivity will not create it. You have to add action. It's some of your life force energy that helps to bring it into the reality. But if you're imagining that and you're creating that, a world where all human beings are equal and part of nature, and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And among these are the right to a personally sovereign life, the liberty to be exactly who we are, and the right to personal fulfillment, spiritual development, and happiness in a equitable economic system in concurrence with our responsibility to all of humanity, the life of the planet, and to future generations. Now that's something I wrote 2024 on January 20th, as the sun was conjuncting Pluto, and I had developed it over time, but I specifically wanted to formulate something that connected to the original words of the United States Declaration of Independence, but expanded it. Well, I can imagine that, but I have to take another step if I want it to actually become a reality, because it's beyond. There's the element where you can create something for yourself personally. So I'm not bypassing that. But if we want that for all beings, for all of life, then we have to continually be feeding that and projecting that into the realm of all possibilities. And as it collects energy and begins to take form, then when other people imagine it, then they give it some of their life force energy. They're starting to imagine their part of that reality. And then it begins to take on an energy of itself. It becomes part of the collective unconscious. So this dynamic between what you're imagining or even what you experience and then project into the formless world that we're associating with Neptune, and then it takes on an energy. And if a lot of people imagine that, like they did in the 1770s and 80s, they came up with something very imperfect, but a way of people to govern themselves that was radically different from how the monarchies of the time were operating, the empires of Europe and in other parts of the world, but specifically where those folks came from. Now, that's something that is a kind of a universally positive vision. But it can also be fed with things that aren't at that high frequency. What if someone imagines, and I'll take an example from history, that someone imagines that, the gods have stopped the rains. And what I believe is that if we make human sacrifices, then the gods will be appeased and the rains will come back. Well, that's